CLE, Cleveland Literacy Efforts. I am Shawn Literacy, founder of Literacy in the Hood, and today in this shop we have the founder of Our Favorite Things Boutique, Lisa McGuthry. But we have a wonderful guest here in the studio, Mrs. D, Mrs. Deonna, coming to enlighten us today in the shop. One thing about Mrs. D, she brings so much insight, so I'm excited to have her. I also have on this very nice shirt from Our Favorite Things Boutique. Check it out, and you're gonna love it. So, welcome, ladies. I had to throw that in. Like, I'm feeling fabulous.
You look amazing.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad to be wearing this garment that you have on sale up front. I'm glad to be one of the first ones, but sorry.
Deonna is also wearing a piece from Our Favorite Things Boutique.
One of my favorite pieces. I can't get enough. I get so many compliments about this.
You look fabulous.
Thank you.
We each have on a piece from Our Favorite Things Boutique, but today we're here to talk about education.
Yes.
Right now we're having an epidemic. The coronavirus has shut down the schools. The coronavirus, has shut down the schools. So with the schools being shut down, everything is pretty much going virtual. And virtual is changing our lives. It's changing your life at the boutique. It's changing the way that we distribute books in the community. And then I brought you in today to talk about the way it's changed your education, the way you're getting educated, the way it changed your job. Like, it's just changed so many things that was once what we perceived to be normal. And then people thought, I can't wait till it goes back normal. But that's not normal anymore. So now it's like, what is the new normal? And what is that going to look like? As a parent, for me, I think about every single day virtual learning with my son. I never ever wanted to be a homeschool teacher ever. Like, I wasn't big. I told my son all the time. But now I still have to work. I'm not privileged enough to work from home. My job doesn't allow that for me. So as I have to go back to work now, I have to seek a tutor.
Yes.
I have to get a babysitter. I had to figure out where my son going to virtual learn from, because normally he would have been at school and that would allow me to go to work. Fortunately for me and for other parents that may live near here, Lisa is opening up the center here.
Yes.
So this will be a place where children can come in 2-hour increments.
Yes.
But again, that's for 2 hours. But they'll be able to come for 2-hour increments, and they'll be able to get help with homework. They'll be able to get help with virtual learning. A twofold on that is a lot of parents send their children to school to learn.
Yes.
So now they're going to have to be a teacher one way or other, even if it's just checking the homework or checking to make sure that your child is doing those assignments online. So then again, for me as a mom, my son loves school. That's where his socialization kicks in at. So then I have to get creative ways to do things at home where he can still be around children, but be in a safe environment.
Yes,
and still create that. So that might be at the beach.
Yes.
The children may be 15 to 20 minutes away from us at the beach, but he still sees and hears other children. Another thing is that school was a safe place for some children.
Absolutely.
Here in the city of Cleveland, 93% of students have faced some sort of trauma. That's 93%
Wow.
that attend the CMSD school. So if 93% have faced some sort of trauma, and school was a safe place for them, where is that safe place going to be, and how are they going to be able to address their social and emotional needs that were being fulfilled for them during school hours? And then the third thing, we have 3,000 CMSD homeless students.
Wow.
Okay. So if they were homeless, but they were allotted the opportunity to go to school, where are those 3,000 babies at? So when you see Lisa, myself, and Barbara going a little extra mile, it's not because we just don't have anything else to do.
Absolutely.
Because she has quite a few businesses, and Barbara runs quite a few businesses, as well as myself, and then trying to help my son build a brand. But we can't leave those children behind. Right now, and I say this with confidence, we are the only avenue in the city of Cleveland where a parent, a child, or a caregiver can have access to free books. We could have did what everybody else did during the pandemic, and we could have decided to close our doors.
Yes.
But not only did Lisa open her doors to the boutique for select hours, she said, Shawn, I decided to add a library in the boutique. And not only did she add a library, she noticed that some of the children were hungry when they came. So she connected with Barbara Bradford, and we make sure now that they can get free books and free snacks. So now we're helping curb some of those barriers as schools begin to open back up. Another thing is that 66% of Clevelanders function illiterate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they took those statistics were based off filling out a job application, a rental application, or reading the RTA bus schedule. So now I have to think about that 66% is illiterate at home trying to teach their children how to virtually learn. So for me, it's a little bit more personal because I'm raising a black son. For me, it's a little bit more personal because I live in the inner city right now because it's the rent that I can afford. So that's why I'm here. And it's a little bit different for me because I'm still trying to understand why is it that my zip code matters, the type of schooling he gets, the type of grocery store we get, and the type of health care that's available in our immediate community. Why is it that if I go to urgent care, I'm shooting straight out to Orange and Beachwood?
Wow.
Why is it that? Because I know I'm in there maybe about 22 minutes top wait time.
Yes.
That's including seeing the doctor, signing in and time. Let me go to urgent care in the inner city or in the hood because I run literacy in the hood, helping out our disenfranchised. But let me go to one urgent care in the inner city. When I get to the urgent care in the inner city, ladies, I'm probably there just quite a few hours. So sometimes the resources just mean all of the difference in the world. But today's show is not about me. I could talk about this. I eat this, I sleep this, and I dream this. Ms. Deonna, I really wanted you to just tell us some of your horror stories online. I follow you, so I know because you share them. But just tell us just a couple of them, even at your education, even in some of the programs you tried to get into, and then bam, they crashed, and now they're virtual. How did that make you feel?
So I am accustomed to online learning. I have taught online. It's been part of my nature for over a decade.
Okay.
In fact, while I like that one-on-one personal contact
Yes.
with my instructor, or as an instructor myself, that one-on-one availability, being able to sit down with a student that might be having some challenges, just that interaction. While I crave that, I can do the online learning and online teaching, but I recognize that is not everybody's style. Everybody, they don't have the fortitude, they don't have the concentration capacity to be online. To do online learning, you have to be a disciplined person.
Absolutely.
I mean, you already have to be disciplined on a college level anyway to do your work, because no one, really 90% of the professors are not going to say, have you done your work? Have you, hey, I didn't get your paper. They're not like me where I'm like, hey, you're tinkering on an F. What can I do to help you? It's either you do it or you get an F, pretty much.
So since you've been teaching online, can you think about a low-income inner city mom who once looked forward to sending her child to school, who has to now cram in her already daily activities and figure out how to teach that baby online?
So let me say this, I feel for every single parent right now. Like, I want a child, and I don't have a biological child yet, but I don't even know how me, as disciplined and privileged compared to some of the other people that I am, how I would handle having to all of a sudden homeschool a child that's been going to school.
Yes.
Let alone dealing with the barriers that many of the parents in this community are dealing with. And not just in Cleveland. Every single city in Cuyahoga County, there are parents that are struggling right now. And you have to look at the fact, not to interrupt you, you got to look at the fact that on March 16th, 2020, everyone's lives in the state of Ohio changed. Everyone's lives. You went from going to work, dropping your kids off at school, to all of a sudden, you got to homeschool your kids and you're dealing with layoff. And many people, while I was furloughed and was able to go back to work, a lot of people have not had that, have not been able to have that. So not to mention, so I'm dealing with having to homeschool my kids. I'm dealing with socioeconomic issues right now.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a brief break. Then we're going to come back. Lisa not only is a business owner, not only runs her own nonprofit, but she has small children at home. So she's going to show us, or she's going to share with us, I should say, some of the things that she's doing to get ready for school to open back up in the fall. Stay tuned. Welcome back to ShopTalk CLE, Cleveland's literacy efforts. I'm Shawn Literacy, and before the break, we was talking to Ms. Deonna. We're talking about the effects, virtual learning. How does that feel as a parent? How does that feel as a professor? How does that feel as a business owner? How does that feel as a mom? Lisa's the owner here at Our Favorite Things Boutique, but Lisa also runs her own nonprofit. Lisa's also a mom. But Lisa, would you share with them the things that you're getting ready to do, or the things that you're prepping for as school opens up and the first weeks are virtual?
As the first weeks become virtual for us, we are preparing our daughter, who's 14 years old. She's entering in her first year of high school. So this is essential, and not only is she's an accelerated student. So there's a lot of the education format that I'm not familiar with her being an IB student with Shaker Heights. That means that she goes through and she's going to have a higher ranking when she completes high school. So she'll get like 2 diplomas. And with that programming, it's intense. So I really have to have myself prepared to be able to help her. I have to, at Shaker Heights, they're preparing parents with virtual learning. So we have classes that we have to take prior to school starting. So we'll be able to help our children. And there's sessions that we had to register via Zoom. So we can go on next week, and they have a schedule. So I'm able to help my child. When I tell you it was super challenging when on March 16th up until June 8th, when school was over, it was extremely challenging for us as a family. I literally had to bring Lauren here to the boutique to ensure that she was on top of everything that she needed to do. Lauren was an honor student, but I saw her grades slipping because it's just that not that routine or the regular routine. So it's going to be challenging. So if you have an honor student that's teeter-tottering, just think about those children who are not as motivated. And Lauren comes from a background that education in our house is the #1 priority. I hold a doctorate degree. So we're on top of those type of things, but it was challenging for me to ensure that her schoolwork was completed.
Why was it so important for both of you in your homes growing up and reading?
For me, I'll start. Reading took me away because I was an inner city youth. As I said previously, a first generation college student. Reading took me away to different worlds.
Okay.
Where in my world, I could be anything, I could become anything, I could do anything. And when I read books, it was so exciting. I just wasn't Lisa Thomas, because that's my maiden name. I wasn't Lisa Thomas. I could be anyone that I wanted to be. I literally learned about being a debutante through reading the Call and Post. That was something that I did all the time. My grandparents didn't have a background in education, but she ensured that I read the Call and Post. That's how I found out about Delta Sigma Theta and being a debutante and going to etiquette classes. So that took me to different places. It took me to reading Judy Blume. I remember walking up to Shaker Square because I lived on 125th and Buckeye, and they had a bookstore right there. That's what I saved my money for, was to purchase books.
For me, reading was an escape. Now, my parents instilled education in our household. We studied, we read. You looking at somebody that did not enjoy 13 of her summers from kindergarten all the way to the 12th grade because my mom had me in a summer program or summer school. To this day, I'm like, you could have just let me have one good summer, but she would not. Education, and that's why I'm always in school, because that's what my mind knows. Learn something. But I was bullied from kindergarten all the way to the 12th grade. So reading for me was an escape from my reality of being bullied. I mean, I literally would read books and picture myself in those books. Judy Blume was my favorite author growing up. I had all of her books growing up. And like Lisa, I could have, spent my allowance on anything. I would buy books. I would buy educational stuff. And it just, to this day, I can tear through a book in 1 to 2 days. I'm on average reading 40 to 50 books a year.
And see, the thing with each of these young ladies said, it was something that was installed in the home. I came up with the acronym, children need care. Children need consistent and repetitive efforts, but they need it at home and they need it from you first. Prior to Corona, for a lot of parents, they shuffled those children off to school and they had unrealistic expectations of school. And they thought if they dressed them real cute and sent them to school would turn them into a teacher, school would turn them into a doctor, and school would turn them into a lawyer. But school can only enhance what you're working on at home. So if you're not working on anything at home, school doesn't have anything to enhance. And now that we're going on virtual learning, this is an opportunity for parents to really come down with their children and build a lifelong learner together. You can't expect the school is going to do it. And right now during this pandemic, it's really going to be a time where as parents, as community, as family, we're going to have to pull together. For me, I look at some of my family members and I said, Lord, we're going to read to them babies. So sometimes just dropping off books.
Yes.
But let me ask you a question. What made you go the extra mile to include books inside of the boutique?
Because I saw a need. As being the co-president of Larchmere Community Association, I saw a need. These folks come here and they support my business, but I also see their children. So we're a family. It's meeting Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's being what we need to be to a community. If they're hungry, we feed them. If they need education, we educate them. That is important. That's what's important about what we do. It's not about the money part. It's about enhancing and growing a community where a business is placed at. You don't just place a business someplace and just come here and reap the benefits of making finances. It's not about that. This is my purpose. This is my mission. And I'm going to make Larchmere area, Wood Hill area better, one block at a time.
Now, I was on the phone a few nights ago and I was talking to Lisa and she said, well, Deonna said if we need anything, let her know. So tell me this, what made you think that this is just so great to have books and snacks in the shop? Like what made you what opened you up to say, I didn't know if there was a library here?
So as a former K through 12 educator, former social worker, I know the importance of education and reading. I know the lack. And from a former educator standpoint, where 90% of your students came to school hungry, and I was asking my mother to make extra lunches and buying breakfasts and buying uniforms to make sure my babies were able to smell good, look good, and have their bellies full, I understand that it's important. We can help these parents by showing them what needs to be done. And a lot of the parents, I would say 90% of the parents don't even want to be in the position that they're in. They don't know what they don't know. And it takes women like you, Lisa, me, to say, you know what, we're not going to talk about you. I'm going to give you a hand up. I'm going to help you, help your family, and help yourself.
ShopTalk CLE, Cleveland Literacy Efforts. Thank you ladies for coming.